live. I don't do these as often, maybe as I should. But today's an experiment. So while I'm kind of prepping for this live, or not prepping for it, while I'm checking to see if I can go live. I want to use this as a little bit of a test too. I want to see if I can. Here I can bring up my live here, my live stream here for. Hey, Winifred, how are you? This is an unusual evening live that I'm doing, and I'm also doing a little bit of testing tonight. Hey, Patty Ann, how are you? Um, I'm just doing a little bit of testing while I go live tonight. I'm checking to see if I can. I'm going to get to some actual news. Um, uh, but I'm also checking to see if I can follow my find my Instagram live feed and actually see it. Um, and it doesn't seem to be working. Hey, Gamer Vet Dad, how are you? How are you guys? So yeah, I know I'm not usually on at this time, except when it's something special like the State of the Union. It is definitely late for me, Dave. I'm usually like starting to get ready for bed because I get up so early in the morning. But I want to diversify. I want to grow the community. So I want to test out evening lives and you know, see how they work. And at the same time, I want to use these as opportunities to kind of test things out too. I'm trying to right now because I'm live streaming on Substack and Instagram and YouTube, and I have not been able to figure out how to see my Instagram and my YouTube feeds. Um, there's some convoluted ways to do it, but I really don't feel like doing those convoluted things. I mean, I will if I have to, but I hope to not have to. So I'm just kind of checking out here. No, I can't. I'm just checking out to see. I'm going to get to the news in in just about a second here, but I'm just checking to see if there's a way I can follow my live on my live so I can see the feed on Instagram. And I don't think it can be done, my friend. I mean, it can be done. I just don't know how to do it. What if we go to the dashboard? Just bear with me for another couple of minutes. We're in the dashboard. I have no idea what this means, but I don't see anything that would be remarkably healthy. All right. Well, there's that. It's good to see you too, Dave. I still feel bad, Dave, from that couple days ago when I pseudo yelled at you because I thought you were saying MAGA things. But I'm getting better at that. So anyway, guys, let's not worry anymore. I'm going to have to do a full-on test live one day where I don't have any news to cover, where I just try to figure out. So Gamer Vet Dad, you don't see it on Instagram as live. Ha. Well, that is helpful. Anybody else on Instagram happens to be able to I know there's only a handful of us on this live right now, but anybody else happen to be on Instagram? If you follow me, I'm Mitch Ivan, MITCHEIVEN, and see if you see me live. I mean, my streaming software is telling me, for whatever that's worth, that I'm on Instagram. But that may not necessarily be the case. Let me just check one more thing here. Yeah, it's showing me. I'm seeing that I'm streaming on Instagram, Substack, and YouTube. Yeah. View in Safari. Let me hang on, guys. Hang on. Copy video URL. Let's do this. Hang on, guys. Hang on. Nobody panic. I got this under control. Maybe. Let's see. I promise I'm going to get to the news, guys. I just want to see if this works. All right. That didn't work. Let's try one. There's one more option. View in Safari, and that does absolutely nothing. All right. Well, another day, another dollar. We'll see if we can figure that out some other time. All right. Let me get back to my news here. So you guys are probably aware that, or maybe not, um, that after a meeting in the White House, the CEO, I think his name is well, it's right here, CEO Sarandos of Netflix announced that Netflix is not going to be able or is not willing to increase its bid, and they are going to surrender their efforts to buy Warner Brothers to Paramount, to Larry Ellison's son, right? The fourth richest guy in the world, who was at the Gamer Vet Dad, you left something. Oh, I'll check. I'm sorry, I didn't have a chance to look at my DM, so I'll check it. The fourth richest man in the world, or I guess it's the richest man and his Nepo son, his Nepo baby now, who owns an entertainment conglomerate. But irrespective, that they're going to buy Warner Brothers, which means they're also going to own CNN. And these are big MAGA people. Larry's son, I think his name is David. Is it David Ellison? It's. I agree, Dave. It's more than too bad. It's 100% fucked. They're going to own CNN. They're going to own Warner Brothers. We're not sure what's going to happen with Discovery yet, the Discovery Channel. The original idea was that Discovery would be spun off into its own private company. I don't know if that's happening. That wasn't part of the deal, but things could change now with this Warner Brothers deal. Now, this is bad. There's no way to sugarcoat it. And everybody in the pro-democracy community who's paying attention to it is, on board with the idea that this is really bad. It gives the village idiot Donald Trump and the MAGA community a much larger footprint in their efforts to take over all media, right? I mean, they really want to do it. There is certainly, it would be hard to imagine that there's not an intention from the village idiot Donald Trump, from the goofballs around him, from these dimwits. Larry, I don't know if Larry and his son are dimwits, but you kind of have to be, to whether you are or not, to be in Donald Trump's corner. It just is required. The goal is to control all media, for MAGA to control all media. Donald Trump is the useful idiot for these billionaires, these extreme right wing wannabe oligarchs, and it's a problem, and it's bad. It's really bad, right? Warner Brothers programming will become MAGA programming. Expect more Melania documentaries like Amazon did, or whatever shit, right? Expect more movies that will be of interest to MAGA, more propaganda that will be created by MAGA, and expect CNN to become a right-wing, shithouse like Fox News, or what CBS is devolving into, because CBS is also owned by Larry Ellison, aka his son, right? TikTok is now owned by Larry Ellison, well, partially owned, majority owned by Larry Ellison and his son, right? So on the one hand, that's bad. It's really, really bad. On the other hand, there is a point of disagreement in terms of how bad it's inevitably going to be that I have with everyone else, just about everyone else in the pro-democracy community. I mean, I'm seeing everybody's hair rightfully on fire about this. I think this was always possible. So I'm not I'm disappointed and feeling incredibly disappointed, but I'm not shocked, right? Um, the DEMs have been quietly talking about breaking these up once the Dems, the DEMs, once they flip the House. Can they? There are liberal billionaires. There's Mark Cuban. There is what's his name? The Microsoft guy. Bill Gates' wife. The Epstein guy, right? Bill Gates' wife. I mean, there are plenty of liberal or pro-democracy billionaires too that, look, there's what I'm involved with, right? I'm being paid to, in essence, be educated to become a successful pro-democracy influencer through Chorus, through a nonprofit organization. And we don't know who Chorus's donors are. Some of them choose to remain anonymous. And I would hope that some pro-democracy I hope there's a lot of grassroots funding for the program, but I hope there's some pro-democracy billionaires too who are contributing to it, because we need that. We need those folks to get behind these things financially. So, and I don't know, Gamer Vet Dad. I don't know if you know what? I don't know that Dems, even if Dems take the House, right? I don't know that they can break them up, right? They antitrust. I know what you're talking about, antitrust laws, but antitrust laws are that's Department of Justice, right? That enforces antitrust laws. Um, so I mean, unless you're suggesting that if Dems take the House and the Senate, 2028. Well, they will take the House and the Senate in 26. In 2028, we get a Democratic president. We maintain a majority in the House and the Senate. Or even, you don't even need to maintain a majority in the House and the Senate. You just need a Democratic president, who assigns a competent attorney general, and then they'd be able to look at these companies and file suit. Of course, if you have the Supreme Court made up as it currently is, that might not work, because almost certainly would be appealed to the Supreme Court. If there was, in other words, if the Department of Justice went after the Ellisons as on an antitrust thing, and the Ellisons claimed it was political, and they won in court in the lower courts, it would find its way to the Supreme Court. And there's a whole argument, I think. There's a whole argument to be made that I'm not going to get into now because it's going to take us down a rabbit hole. But there's a whole argument to be made about, about whether it's the next president would have a right and the authority, and there would be a necessity to pack the Supreme Court. I would argue there is, and there should be. But that's another argument for another day. Irrespective. So I think that the potential upside to this, if there is one, is the power of money and the power of access to the White House and the power of just being a dick billionaire is overrated in certain instances. Because because these companies are all consumer driven, right? You need consumers to buy things from you in order for these companies to be profitable. And when we've seen instances where companies have been taken over by these people and others, where the viewers have fled, have just fucking left, right? And granted, these people seem to be MAGA zealots. I'll give you some examples in a minute. So they're billionaires, so they're able to fund these, in essence, failing media enterprises, from almost a, political religious perspective, and that they could, they're billionaires enough times over that they could probably do that for forever. But I think to make the argument that they're they're completely taking control of American media, when they own the companies, but they lose the customers, they lose the viewers. I think I don't think that argument is completely accurate. Here's an example. Let's Before we get to the Ellison creeps, let's take Elon Musk, right? What did Elon Musk do? Elon Musk bought Twitter, right? He turned it into X. Within a very, very short period of time, right? He started hemorrhaging people, right? Everybody left, right? The right wing media echo chamber stayed there. The MAGA trolls stayed there. Some journalists stayed there. Some politicians stayed there. Even politicians like Gavin Newsom maintained a presence there, so that he could later use it to troll the MAGA community and the village idiot. He could turn the platform against the imbecile successfully. So, but for all intent and purposes, right? Everybody left. And although we don't, it's a privately held company now, we have no idea what the financials look like. We know that there was a mass exodus of people. We know that, a few of us that were liberals came back to kind of see what was going on when Gavin Newsom started, Gavin Newsom's PR department started trolling Donald Trump. It became somewhat entertaining. I go on there sometimes just to see what the MAGAs are up to and what they're losing their minds about. But all in all, it's got to be a failure in terms of its business model. And Elon is rich enough that obviously he can just keep it going for the rest of his life, probably, if he wants, and it won't hurt him financially. But nobody gives a fuck. You know what I mean? The people who go there are the people that want to be there, and they want to be exposed to that nonsense. And nobody what I'm trying to say is it has no significant effect on the entertainment and the news ecosystem beyond what it had. I would argue that it has less of an effect now than it did when it was Twitter, because so many of the people who were there are gone. Now, I know that's not movies and TV and a news station, but I don't think. The one thing that we've seen is when the Ellisons bought Paramount, and when they bought, what was it called? Skydance, and then and Paramount. It doesn't seem that the talent followed them, right? I mean, you have, the talent that, let's just say those who would be a draw to a new Paramount show, for example, a new streaming show, who is there, right? I mean, who does Donald Trump have in his corner? Sylvester Stallone, Gloria Gaynor, Kid Rock, Kevin Sorbo, right? The talent isn't following the idiot, the idiocrat, the wannabe fascist. They're not going there. So I think you're going to see a situation, that's now that these dimwits are going to buy Warner Brothers, and if they do turn Warner Brothers into a right-wing, a much larger, much more expensive, right-wing propaganda outlet that just happens to be focused on entertainment, like X is focused on, on social media. Who the fuck's gonna go? You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I'll still watch Harry Potter. They own that Warner Brothers owns a lot of great movies, and those movies that they have that these creeps will now have access to. I'll still watch them, but I'm not going to watch, the the last great words of Jesus, 17 different versions of that movie. I'm not going to watch, 12 more documentaries on Melania. Like, like who the fuck went to see that anyway? That Amazon, did to it, that $40 million documentary that Amazon created to appease the fucking idiot, right? So if they start making shit, look, they're business people too. Larry Ellison, for what maybe he's a MAGA creep. I really don't know anything about his son. I mean, I shouldn't talk smack about his son. They're still business people, and maybe their bottom line is going to be more important to them. I doubt it, but then their MAGA wannabe authoritarian bent. Maybe that'll be more interesting to them. The bottom line in the end, because everything's transactional in that world, in the MAGA world anyway. But if they start just flooding the world with shit, like the world won't go watch it. Nobody wants to see fucking Kevin Sorbo as Jesus, right? Nobody wants to go see Gloria Gaynor starring in I don't know, some you know, uh, monthly musical, Gloria Gaynor and Kid Rock to a monthly musical tribute to Donald Trump. Nobody wants to go. I mean, there will be some people, but if Warner Brothers Talking Points USA channel to attract young people, yeah, I mean, the people who are into that will go there, but I just don't have a sense that all of America is going to get sold on the propaganda. And look what's happening thus far with TikTok. TikTok hemorrhaged millions and millions of users as soon as the Ellisons took over, right? As soon as the transition was a clusterfuck, a technical clusterfuck, a huge swath of the pro-democracy influencers just left. A lot of us left beforehand. I'm going back to TikTok, sort of back and forth, in and out, just because I'm encouraged to be on every social media outlet that is there, wherever I can place my videos and but I don't give a shit. I could leave there tomorrow, and I think everybody else could, and TikTok hasn't done anything yet where the social media shopping and the cultural influencers. Yeah, there's the MAGA creeps on there, the libs of TikTok and everybody else, but they haven't done anything yet to actively, in other words, there's nothing I've seen on TikTok, read about, or heard where the influencers, the MAGA influencers, for example, I'm not seeing any indication that MAGA influencers are being are being compensated better than other political influencers on TikTok by TikTok, and that their shit is getting propagated throughout TikTok more so. I mean, if you guys are on TikTok, maybe you'll see it. I haven't seen that yet. So, that being said, I imagine if it happens, everybody would leave. And if CNN, turns into a fucking cesspool, and I'm going to get to your comments in a second, guys, but if CNN turns into CBS News or Fox News, that's it. It's over for CNN. How long do you think CBS News has at this point? If Larry Ellison's son just doesn't feed the news outlet money, how long? I mean, network news is in Shitsville anyway, without the the rot from the head situation that Donald Trump has put it in now, and the Ellisons have put it in now, right? Nobody fucking cares about broadcast news anymore. So they're already in the shithouse. Now they've got Barry Weiss running CBS into the ground, making fucked up decisions every day. I'm sure they're hemorrhaging viewers, and I'm sure it's just it's a passion project now for the Ellisons more than a business project, right? If they don't keep funding it, how long does it have, right? Colbert leaves. Who are they going to put on? Right? Who the fuck are they going to put on at late night? They're going to get some MAGA comedian. So It's over. CBS is done. Maybe they have some shows. I mean, CBS News is done, right? Maybe there's some shows, and if those shows stay the way they are, fine, right? If those shows start having a Christian white nationalist, as my mom who watches fucking, I don't know if this is a CBS show, whatever drama. My mom's 88, my dad's 91. They're still used to watching television with commercials, right? And 10 p.m. dramas of police and medical hospitals and shit, right? Is my mom going to watch that shit if they start feeding her like fucking, love Jesus and love Trump messages secretly in the shows? No, they're going to leave. So I don't know. I don't buy into the. I'm sorry, guys. I still have that little bit of that post-nasal drip. I did go to the doctor, if anybody's concerned, and he did give me an antibiotic, and he told me take it if you want to or if not. He's like, I don't really. I was like, well, that's unhelpful. And he's like, well, I don't see any indication that you have a virus, but I don't know that you don't. It's just a fucking cold that started, 2 colds back to back that happened a month ago. The doctor said there's colds that are lasting a month and a half, 2 months. So it's weird at night, especially if I eat chocolate or sugar, the postnasal drip kicks in. That's why I apologize for coughing into the microphone, but it's kind of, I can feel it dripping back there, as disgusting as that is, and it tickles my throat. So, and Dave, I hear you. I think TikTok is fine I don't see any difference in TikTok. If I put 90% of the videos I put on TikTok don't go anywhere. They're pro-democracy videos. I used to think it was TikTok. I really think it's me, to be honest with you. 1 out of 10 go viral and get some traction. My lives, I had a couple days when TikTok was transitioning and they were fucked up with the servers, where I wasn't getting bans every 5 seconds for making fun of Donald Trump. And the last 2 times we were on TikTok, I got restrictions on both those lives. So, and I posted 2 videos recently on TikTok where I started them out saying the village idiot Donald Trump. I've got community strikes for both of those. On one of them, I took the village idiot out and the community strike went away. I just said Donald Trump. So, it's exactly what it was. So, we'll see. We'll see what, no worries. Gamer Vet Dad, go take your call. No worries at all. I appreciate you being here. So anyway, so anyway, I don't think the world is coming to an end. And I don't think the village idiot, is going to take over. I don't think this is going to raise his approval ratings. Everybody hates him. And if media outlets become Donald Trump outlets, everybody will hate them. And I think, as Gamer Vet Dad said here, ultimately, that is what will happen. People will drift away, just like many did from network news to cable. So now the evolution will be independent journalists like Lemon, me at Midas, me. I think Substack holds a tremendous amount of potential. I'm sure they're going to try to buy this out at some point too. We'll see. But I think you're going to see this world blow up even more so. Anyway, let's just read, just to take a couple moments and read a little bit of the reporting on it, because this is the only part of it that's interesting, is that the CEO of Netflix visited the White House and supposedly didn't talk to Donald Trump. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos visited the White House Thursday afternoon for a meeting on his company's efforts to buy part of Warner Brothers Discovery, shortly before Netflix announced it would terminate the deal. Sarandos had not been expected to meet with the village idiot Donald Trump, who days ago demanded that Netflix boot former Obama administration official Susan Rice from its board of directors, or, quote, pay the consequences, end quote. Trump's threat had cited a call by right-wing influencers Laura Loomer to, quote, kill the Netflix Warner Brothers merger now, end quote. Loomer had pointed to Rice's comments predicting that institutions that appease Trump will be held, quote, accountable when the Democrats regain power. Quote, this meeting is not with POTUS, a White House official told CNBC. Quote, Netflix is meeting with staff members at the White House, the official said, all because, Laura Loomer, right, told Donald Trump that the deal has to end. It is staggering. After Sarandis arrived at the White House, WBD issued a statement saying that Paramount Skydance's new bid to buy all of the company appeared to be a superior proposal to Netflix's offer. Under the terms of the agreement with WBD, Netflix had 4 business days to approve its bid. But after Sarandis left the White House, Netflix issued a statement pulling the cord on the deal altogether. The transaction we negotiated would have created shareholder value with a clear path. The transaction we negotiated would have created shareholder value with a clear path to regulatory approval, Netflix said. However, we've always been disciplined, and at the price required to match Paramount Skydance's latest offer, the deal is no longer financially attractive, so we are declining to match the Paramount Skydance bid. Whether or not Sarandos, I would hope he didn't surrender to Donald Trump. I would hope he didn't tolerate threats. I would hope he now builds Netflix out exponentially, buys other properties and assets to combat them, or just makes Netflix bigger. Make a Netflix news outlet, right? Be more competitive. Make things with these goons buying Warner Brothers, right? With these goofballs buying Warner Brothers, potentially making Warner Brothers unattractive to consumers. I think it's an opportunity for Netflix. I think it's an opportunity for Disney. I think it's an opportunity for all of us in independent media. I think it's an opportunity for smaller production outlets I think you're gonna potentially take Warner Brothers out of the competitive market in the movie business, in the streaming business. Take CNN completely out of the competitive market in the cable news business. It'll just be an extension of, and as another Fox News extension of Fox News, like CBS is now, and it opens up a door. It creates opportunity, and that's, for whatever it's worth, that's what I think. Dave, I agree on Substack's potential. Yeah, and I know there's some weirdness because what is it called? Polygon, or not Polygon? There's a lot of complaining, rightfully so, I think, within the Democratic pro-democracy community. There was a company that partnered up. I don't know if it was like a betting company or it's called. Hey, Catherine, how are you? Catherine, I'm doing an unusual later in the evening live. I just want to see what the I'm doing some testing out, trying different things. I want to see what it's like to do some lives at night, if it helps build the community in any capacity. I mean, there's just a small handful of us here now, but if I start going live semi-regularly in the evening, I want to see what that who that might attract. Also, guys, I've been talking about this a little more. You're starting to see the interviews. I'm just going to talk about this a minute before I segue. Before I segue over to the next story. I'm going to, you're starting to see the interviews kick up a bit. They're trickling in. They're not coming in as quickly as I would like. But again, I have to sort of be patient. I had Senator Chris Murphy tentatively slated for this afternoon. That fell through. I'm hoping that I get him next week. We had the Congresswoman Mary Gay. I can't think of her last name right now. It slipped my mind. Scanlon, Mary Gay Scanlon. There was a really nice interview that she provided. Salam Bouti, so we're starting to get these interviews trickle in. They're not coming in as quickly as I'd like, but they're coming in, and I tend to be very impatient. But I tend to get, especially when things start happening. But I hope to do more of them, and I'm starting to really um, get to know some really remarkable people through the program that I'm involved in. And I'm expecting in the very near future, we're going to get some panels together. And we're going to start doing lives together in 3 or 4 group panels. Also, guys, if you didn't catch the live with Patty Ann, uh, Ritu, and myself, our wellness live from Sunday. It's posted in here on Substack. It was really good. Patty Ann is a remarkable therapist. Ritu is a mental health professional, 30 years a social worker, and just a wellness expert. And they really gave some incredible perspective on how to deal with the madness of this. And we're going to do it every 2 weeks on Sundays at 11. So if you can't catch it, then you may want to catch the recordings of those, because they're really, really going to help. But what I'm trying to say is I've had many, many companies throughout my life, and they've all failed. Everyone except one was successful. The rest of them all failed. And one of the biggest problems with my growth, with all of my companies, is I've always tried to do it alone. And I realized finally at 57 that I cannot build a community of one. And that requires, as a control freak, me releasing some control. And that's what I'm doing this time. I want to diversify as much as I can. We've got these. We've got these great articles that Gamer Vet Dad is writing for us. Um, there's as much collaboration as I can do with with folks in the community, with folks outside the community. I want to do more and more and more of that. And if I build my business out to include other influencers who I'm meeting now, some who are well established, some who are just starting, and we create our YouTube shows together and we expand our lives together, I really think that's the ticket. As much as I want, really look forward to eventually the moment. And I don't think it'll be that far in the distant future when I can get the Zev Parnasses and the Waj Alis and the Katie Fangs to come on and join me in these lives. I look forward to that. But I think the next generation, and some of them are in their 20s, and some of them are in their 30s, and some of them are in their 50s, and some of them are in their 60s. The next generation of independent Waj Alis and Lev Parnasses and Katie Fangs, I'm meeting them right now. So just, you're going to start to see them, collaborating together. And I think it's really going to be exciting. So I so appreciate you guys sticking with me, because the foundation of all of this is this community, is Zenocracy, is us working together to save our democracy. I would not be, let me make it clear, I would not be in the Chorus program making these connections and beginning the process of building if I didn't have this community. And I am so thankful for it. The thing that it's a very diverse community of influencers, all ages. The thing that really, I think, got me in, because there's a million people doing what I'm doing, were these lives. Because that's unique. And these lives are us. So this is us. So you guys are like, I feel that when I'm making this decision to not go it alone, the first step, I remember it was shortly after Kamala lost the election in 2024. And I was so scared to do a live. And I came onto TikTok and I fumbled through that first live. And then I started doing them every day. And a lot of you I started to meet by doing the lives over there. And, TikTok got weird, which was good. And then, we came over here and many of you joined me over here and we, met some new folks over here and grew a little bit. And I just cannot explain to you guys how much I appreciate you all and how much you've done for me and how I feel like, as I'm starting to grow, as we're starting to grow, it's because of the fact that we're here together. On that note, I want to get to the next topic before we wrap today. I just want to see if there's any more comments. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad. So, Catherine, you like the evening lives because you're not at work. Yeah, they're good. The only difficulty I think I may have with the evening lives is sleep, because I get up so early. It can be hard, and I have to get up that early. But we'll see. I'm going to really try to make an effort to make these a thing. So, second issue to talk about: Hillary. Let's talk about Hillary, guys. So, if the Republicans, the House Oversight Committee, led by Jim Comer, Republican Jim Comer, who I often refer to as America's only Smurf in leadership. Sing a happy song. That's the Smurf song. I'm not going to play the whole thing for you. Jim Comer, in addition to being a Smurf, is the head of the Oversight Committee. Jim Comer, every time he's been in the majority, and which he's been for a while now, and been the head of the Oversight Committee, he has his ineptitude, incompetence, Trumpian sycophantic behavior has been staggering. And he's really fucked up everything. But in the Trump administration, you always fail forward. As long as you're loyal, it doesn't matter how much you fuck up. You can fuck up consistently. Donald likes that, as long as you're loyal. And Comer has been aggressively loyal. So Jim Comer's efforts to try to help the village idiot Donald Trump cover up the Epstein files through this sham investigation by the Oversight Committee has been a complete disaster for him. The biggest problem he has is led by Congressman Garcia. You have a very strong, young group of Democratic members of Congress on that committee who are far smarter than Comer and the dipshit Republicans that are with him, right? Far more strategic, can outmaneuver, outmanage, and outthink that Confederacy of imbeciles nonstop. And they are using the cover-up investigation to expose both the cover-up and the truth about the village idiot, the Donald Trump, and the Epstein files, right? So they're doing an excellent job of it, but there are things that they don't even need to do. Because Comer is such a dumb fuck, because he may be a smart guy. I don't really know. But when you're working with Donald Trump, you have to be dumb. Even if you're not dumb, you have to pretend to be an idiot, because Donald has to feel like he's smarter than you, or else he will not accept you and he will try to destroy you, right? So whether or not Comer is an imbecile, or whether or not he just pretends to be, whether or not he's crazy, or whether or not he just pretends to be, the point is he's really, really good at pretending to be a dunce. And because of that, he is very prone to unforced errors, things that oversight Democrats don't need to do to throw him off track. So the dumbest thing that this idiot has done, because Donald Trump wanted him to, was bring Hillary Clinton in, right, for a closed-door testimony, right, threatening to hold her and Bill in contempt of court, right? Hillary and Bill are, I wouldn't fuck with them, right? They are like, Bill's getting a little older and his rhetorical skills. We'll see how he does tomorrow in the hearing. I'm sure he's going to do quite well, but he's pretty much sharp as a tack still, and he may not be able to express it anywhere near as effectively as he once could. But Hillary hasn't lost a step, and she'll fucking destroy you. Right? Especially if you're a moron or a pretend moron like Jim Comer and the idiots. I mean, in this oversight committee. I mean, Hillary dealt with, managed, manipulated, stomped on, chewed up and spit out the Freedom Caucus goons back in the Obama era. Right? And many, many more over the years. She is not to be toiled with, and they're brilliant. So whatever you think of them, they're brilliant. So I mean, Comer bringing them in to give Republicans an opportunity to question her about shit, and then doing it behind closed doors after her and Bill completely stole the narrative and manipulated took over the news cycle from the House Oversight Committee a month and a half ago, and from the village idiot Donald Trump, basically arguing that, yeah, we'd love to come and speak to you, but it needs to be where it's in an open hearing so the whole world could see it. And they have consistently hammered those motherfuckers with that message successfully ever since. And then these dumb fucks, so they bring her in for a closed door hearing, right? They're like, we got her. We're going to just, manipulate her, and we're going to manage the messaging, and we're going to ask her all the questions, and we got her. We got Hillary. Well, she does not suffer fools and idiots at all. Hillary, the headline, there are two headlines that I'm seeing all over legacy media that came out, three headlines that came out of that hearing. Headline one: GOP Oversight Committee member Lauren Boebert breaks the rules agreed upon in the Oversight Committee and takes a photo. It almost feels like she broke the law, right? Because Democrats and Hillary have been so good at messaging this. Breaks the rules and takes a photo of Hillary during the meeting and sends it to right-wing podcaster Benny Johnson, who was fucking dumb enough to post it and say that Lauren Boebert sent it to him. Hillary takes over and stops the fucking hearing. You broke the rules, assholes. Hillary, I'm not fucking putting up with this. Hillary's spokesperson and Bill's spokesperson immediately come out to tell the media, oh, guess what? These dumb fucks broke the rules and took a picture of Hillary and sent it to some fucking right-wing podcast douchebag. What do you think of that? And that's all they said. And then they went back in the building, right? And then the media went batshit with it, right? It became the whole story. And that was the story. That's all anybody fucking cared about, right? At that point, until Hillary came out. I'm going to play this clip for you in just a second, but I just want to share my thoughts about it. Until Hillary comes out, right? And tells us, right, that these fucking idiots, that at the end, she tells us what was the second headline from, the hearing. And the second headline that's all over the news is Hillary didn't know Jeffrey Epstein, and she only knew Ghislaine Maxwell in passing, and she knew nothing about his crimes, and having her there had absolutely no benefit to the investigation, right? They just wasted America's money, right? That was the second headline. They just brought her there because Donald wanted her and Bill there. And then she gets to the third headline, which is the one that I think is sticking with legacy media at this point next to Lauren Boebert, which is, it got really weird, and they started asking me about aliens and Pizzagate. Let me play the clip for you. It's about 3 minutes. No, I'm sorry, it's about 6 minutes. But you'll catch these. This is what I'm saying. She's so fucking good at this. She knew exactly what the media was going to pick up. Even the way she swaggers is
Hello,
like,
everybody. Hello. Good evening.
it's like it's like she's been waiting for this. She's been waiting for this opportunity for like a year or 2 years, and they gave it to her.
Well, I have just finished testifying. I answered every one of their questions as fully as I could, based on what I knew. And what I knew is what I said in my statement this morning. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance. But whatever they asked me, I did my very best to respond. It was disappointing that they refused to hold a public hearing, so I wouldn't have to be out here characterizing it for you. You could have seen it for yourself. We had asked for that. We think it would have been better for the committee and its efforts to gather whatever information they are seeking. We had a bit of a challenge in the beginning because we had agreed upon rules based on the fact it was going to be a closed hearing at their demand, and one of the members violated that rule, which was very upsetting because it suggested that they might violate other of our agreements. So we had to cease the hearing for a period of time until we could get assurances that no rules would be broken going forward, and we returned to answer questions repetitively, literally over and over again. I don't know how many times I had to say I did not know Jeffrey Epstein. I never went to his island. I never went to his homes. I never went to his offices. So it's on the record numerous times. It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate, one of the most vile, bogus conspiracy theories that was propagated on the internet, that was serving as the basis of a member's questions to me. So I can only say that the best exchange that I had came at the very end, when, contrary to every other deposition they have taken, no Republican member asked any questions about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell to anyone else they have deposed. And in fact, the Republican members didn't even show up for the deposition of Les Wexner. And when I said that, I had to point out that the only questions that any Republican member asked of any of the people they deposed was of former Attorney General Bill Barr, when Chairman Comer asked him about the allegations, in his view, about Russia's involvement in my election in 2016. So at the very end of this hearing, after I made that point, I want to commend Chairman Comer for raising a series of significant questions that I responded to about the nature of the investigation and the areas that I thought should be explored. So I appreciated that.
She is awesome.
Want to see the truth come out. So that was a reassuring way to end a very long, repetitive deposition.
I haven't heard the Q&A yet, so I'm curious to see.
Heartbroken you have been for the Epstein survivors as these files have come out. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you have processed and reacted to the fact that the former president, your husband, Bill Clinton, is referenced in the Epstein files numerous times, including in some photos featuring women? And how have you been personally preparing for the deposition that is coming tomorrow? Are you 100% confident that there isn't anything that the former president knows about Epstein's crimes?
I am, and I think the chronology of the connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light, and that he was charged and sadly given a sweetheart deal, which, as I said in my statement, had that not happened, perhaps his predatory behavior could have been stopped earlier. But I think it is fair to say that the vast majority of people who had contact with him before his criminal pleas in '08 were like most people. They did not know what he was doing. And I think that that is exactly what my husband will testify to tomorrow.
Madam Secretary,
do you believe this was a fair hearing, and do you still want to testify publicly even though you gave this deposition?
Well, I'm not going to do it again. They had a chance to do it in public, and I wish they had done it in public. And I think they're making the wrong decision, avoiding doing it in public. I thought it was very repetitive. I thought that they asked literally the same questions over and over again, which didn't seem to me to be very productive. And then, as I said, toward the end, there were other questions that were totally off subject. So if they are going to fulfill their responsibilities to literally investigate the investigations, which is what they originally said was the scope of their work, I think they could have spent the day more productively.
Madam Secretary, can I ask, why was Colleen Maxwell invited to the daughter Chelsea Clinton's wedding in 2010? She'd already been mentioned in a civil lawsuit by Virginia Giuffre before that. Jeffrey Epstein had already been convicted before.
She came as the +1, the guest of someone who was invited.
Madam Secretary, could you tell us your reaction, please, to the photos of your husband in the hot tub in the swimming pool?
What message does it say that President Trump does
I
not
don't
follow the
know
death
when the video will be out. I don't know when the transcript will be out. We've asked that they be out as quickly as possible, and then you can see.
Madam Secretary, what was your reaction to those photos in the hot tub?
I really think Gamer Vet Dad, your point is so well taken. She's been waiting for this for 20 years. I don't think Hillary ever really wanted to leave the public eye, especially after 2016. She's still pretty damn good at this. I think she thoroughly enjoyed this experience. I think she wants to be in the fight right now. I think that, Bill testifies tomorrow. Patty Ann, right? That's right, guys? Bill testifies tomorrow. Bill testifies tomorrow. I think Hillary wants to be in the fight right now. Who doesn't want to be in the fight to save democracy, right? I think Comer would do well to steer clear of her because she'll fuck him up, rhetorically at this point. This is clear. She's ready to go at it. And I don't think the village idiot wants to mess with her right now because she's ready to throw down politically, and I wouldn't recommend it. Although I kind of hope she does. I don't see her running again for office. I think I mean, she could. I don't know if she's in her 70s at this point. It doesn't mean in your 70s you couldn't win, but an election for something. But at the same time, America is they're looking toward a new generation. So I don't know that she runs for anything. Um, but this is, if she has an opportunity to get back in the game right now because of this, I think it's going to be quite something. Gamer Vet Dad, I never was her biggest fan, but oh, oh my God, she hasn't really lost a step. I am fairly certain we would be in a different world if she had won. My God, if she won in 2016, I mean, completely different world. Donald Trump would be. We would, none of us would care. We would just know him as a washed up racist nut, right? He would just be some washed up racist former TV reality show whack job. That he would be irrelevant in our lives. I think she may have a place in the next administration. I don't know, Gamer Vet Dad. Maybe as like a special advisor to the president, like a Kellyanne Conway kind of thing. But I just couldn't see her as at this time politically. I could, you never know, but I just I can't see her in a cabinet position. I think she could be a very effective chief of staff, but again, you know, I don't, I don't see that. But who knows? I mean, ambassador, yeah. I mean, yeah, absolutely. But would that be something? And again, I don't know. I can't speak for her. But would that be something that she would want? Right? Would Hillary want to go to wherever? France, or would she want to be like the ambassador to the UN? I don't know. I don't know what's going on in her mind. But I guess we'll see. All right, guys. So I think it's a good time to wrap the live. I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you for joining me on the nighttime live, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, 1 day at a time, 1 live at a time. We're a year and we're almost 13 months into this, and I know it's still a long way to go, but we're just chunking through it. Good night, Catherine. Good night, guys. Take care. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Regular time, 11:15 a.m. Be well, everybody, and take care.